Hello everyone! The Sega Sonic arcade game is a game that always caught my attention. How many platform games you know that you can control the character with a trackball? I think that this is the only one. The sad part is that the real arcade games are super rare. It was only released in Japan, and the only English version of this machine was recently auctioned for more than $35,000. So until now, my only option was to emulate it and play it using analog sticks to simulate the trackball controls. And it's not a good experience. The analog sticks can't simulate the precision and momentum of the real trackball. So recently I was searching for new controllers to test, and I found this real arcade trackball. It is designed to be used with real arcade machines. But what really caught my attention is that this one used USB ports. So I bought it, and here it is. It is bulky, messy, and full of wires. After all, the only part that is supposed to be exposed is the ball itself. The ball has 3 inches of diameter, and it feels very smooth. In one side of the board, you can see the connections for the USB port. And this trackball uses optical sensors. And it comes with 2 connections, USB and PS2. I immediately plugged it into my phone with an OTG connector, and it's detected as a mouse. The precision is incredible. I'd say that this is even more precise than a mouse. But we need to build a case for the ball and some buttons. I searched for some cases online, and I found this one, which was pretty close to what I wanted. But there's only one problem: it is designed to be used with a smaller module than mine. I had to open the model in Tinkercad and make some adjustments. I made it larger and changed the position of the ball hole and fixation pins. Then I put it to print with this holographic bed to have a cool finish. And here's the final result. The holographic pattern transferred nicely, but the prints still have some errors. It's very hard to calibrate the first layer. Apart from that, everything is alright. I changed the color of the filament to have 2 tones, and the pins are repositioned according to my module. And the most important, the trackball fits in perfectly. I also bought these arcade buttons, but they wouldn't fit perfectly. It has small tabs that needs to be cut, at least on this model. But it's no hard task. You can do it with a Dremel or some flush cutters. With the buttons connected, you have to connect the ground wire. And it should be connected like this. Connect the same wire to the left pin of all buttons. Then there's one more which will be connected to the trackball in the ground pin, like this. I also inserted a tip of a toothpick and glued in place here, because this board was moving, and the movement was stopping the encoder wheels from spinning. So before assembling everything, check if your boards are well fixed. Also, this trackball has a hole in the bottom. You can install an RGB LED here if you want some light effects. I thought it was too distracting, so I just proceeded with a normal installation. After fixing the ground wire, all that's left to do is solder the red, black, and white wires. It's the wires labeled with M, R, and L on the trackball board. And then you'll finish the installation. These wires here are unused, so you can put them to the side. You can also choose the placement of the cable. Close the lid, add some screws, and your trackball controller is ready. And I gotta say, the final result looks very solid. Just remember to add some protection for the screws later. These can easily scratch your desk. If you have a modded switch, the trackball will also work here. It might need some adjustment to the sensitivity, but it works very well. Also, depending of which emulator you're using, you might want to pay attention to the trackball sensitivity. Use Cabal as benchmark, and the cursor should move only 1 pixel at a time. If it moves 2 pixels or more, the core isn't emulating the trackball correctly, and you'll have a poor experience. And finally, it's time to enjoy some trackball games. And I have to say, this is a totally different experience. The precision of the trackball is amazing. It picks up the small movements flawlessly. And when you flick the ball, it retains the momentum for a bit. You can move small steps with your finger, or flick it really hard to run fast. Another game that really impressed me was Cabal. What's up with that evil laughter? And the precision of the aim here is outstanding. You can flick the ball fast to the side to run, or flick diagonally to roll and dodge bullets. Next is Marble Madness. The soundtrack in this one is amazing, but the controls aren't so precise. The Simpsons bowling is fun, but it's just bowling.
Okay, ready.
Next we have the irritating maze, which in my opinion isn't irritating at all.
Hey, you don't stop. Hey, you don't stop. You proceed, cause this is what you need.
Ready, go!
Yep, yep. Yep, yep. Yep, yep.
Beware, the slot machine is next. Ready, go!
Yep, yep.
Beware, the slot machine is next. Checkpoint. Ready, go! Ready, go! Next is the triple windmill. Use the air. just cleared the triple windmill zone. Congratulations, you just made it through the novice course.
Lastly, we have the classic Centipede. And don't let its appearance fool you, this game is very addicting. The movement is fast and snappy, and the game is well balanced. You can only have one bean on screen at a time, so the closer the target is, the faster you can shoot. Moving to the final thoughts, I think that this DIY project is worth it. It is the only way you can have an identical arcade experience, and the trackball can be used on multiple platforms. The precision is amazing, and it's very easy to repair if something breaks. The only cons that I can see is the price of the trackball, which is close to $40, and the fact that you need basic soldering skills to put everything together. If the cost was a deal breaker for you, you can find way cheaper models online. The main difference is that the size of the ball in these modules is way smaller. The bigger the ball, the more momentum it retains, and it has more surface to roll around too. Also, the cheaper versions don't have an USB connection, so you'll have to build an adapter or modify the cable yourself. And that's it for this video. I'll leave the links to all of the parts I used in the description below, as well as the STL files for the 3D printed case. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.